Hi everybody, I'm Julie Kerr, writer and director of the romantic comedy Geek Loves Punk, and I got a request from a friend to do a Disney movie, and since I have Disney Plus, I'm actually just gonna start with the first Disney animated movie. There's tons of live action movies, and I've been going through those, but I'm gonna start with the animation. So I'm gonna start with Snow White. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I'm going to talk about 3 things I really like about that movie because I think it's a really good movie. It was made in the 1930s. It's definitely a movie of its time for sure. But anyway, I'm going to talk about why I like the movie. Okay, so the first thing I like about Snow White is that it presents the idea of vanity, being vain about your looks, versus character, embracing who you are and how you treat people. So the evil stepmother, I think, I love that they chose to make her beautiful. I think her design is really interesting, and because they chose to make her beautiful, it kind of presents a pretty interesting concept. So basically, she's beautiful, but she's mean. And so beauty is important, for sure. I mean, wait. Actually, okay. Beauty is important, but I also want to say we're all children of God or children of the universe, so we're all beautiful, and, you know, it's all good. Tons of beauty channels on YouTube, so, you know, if makeup tips are your thing, then awesome, rock on. so it's not to say beauty isn't, like, important, but beauty is also in the eye of the beholder, and one of my favorite books is The Velveteen Rabbit, and it talks about you're beautiful to people who think you're real. I don't know. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So anyway, so beauty's sort of important, but the evil stepmother is vain. So, but Snow White, she's also considered beautiful, but also she is kind and sweet, and she cleans, I think. I'm a little rusty. Oh no, she does like to clean. She's like, whistle while you work, so she likes to clean. You know, good for her. Snow White likes to clean, that's awesome. So vanity versus character, basically, like, Snow White represents, like, good, and she's like, okay, so, you know, being beautiful is kind of important, but it's also really important to, like, be kind and good and stuff like that. So yeah, and so I would say character, who you are as a person, how you treat people, is actually more important than what you look like. And I actually think, I'm not a dermatologist, but I think being kind is good for your skin. It's good for your looks. That's just based on my opinion. Okay, so the second thing I really like about Snow White is it does celebrate femininity. And I know that being feminine, you know, you could define being feminine in like 50 different ways. You know, I totally get that. But my favorite parts of Snow White is when Snow White goes to the cottage and she encounters the 7 dwarves, or I'll say, you know, I want to be sensitive, so the 7 little men. So she encounters the 7 little men, and they're funny and hilarious, and they're animated really well. And those are my favorite parts of the movie. And basically, the little men, they're men and they're manly. And they haven't really been keeping up with their cottage. They haven't been cleaning it. They haven't been washing their hands, stuff like that. And they've kind of been just 7 men living together. And here comes Snow White. She represents femininity. And yes, I know. There's so many different ways you can be feminine, I know. But I liked it. I found it charming in the sense that she comes to the cottage and she's like saying, like, you know, basically she's a breath of fresh air for these 7 little men. And they're like, hey, cool, there's this cool lady here. So, and what Snow White does is she encourages them to take better care of their house. She encourages them to take better care of themselves. Like, it's kind of cool. And basically their lives are better. Here comes this beacon of light, this feminine awesomeness into their lives, and their lives get, well, better. And there's this my favorite, I thought it was quite funny, my favorite scene in the movie is she's trying to win over Grumpy, and Grumpy, well, he's grumpy. So he says in the movie, he says, I don't like women. And then Snow White kind of makes fun of him. She goes like this, she goes, I don't like women. And then all the little men start laughing because she's making fun of Grumpy. And then Snow White's like, why don't you like women? And then Grumpy goes, I just don't. He can't even give a reason. He's grumpy. And she's like, then I think she makes fun of him again. She's like, I just don't. But what happens in the movie is, spoiler alert. But towards the end of the movie, again, spoiler alert. But when she eats the poisoned apple and she falls asleep, and they think she might be dead or she's in a coma, you see Grumpy crying, and he's crying the most because her feminine awesomeness won him over, and so he's the one crying the most because it's like he liked her. This is her friend. This is his friend. This really amazing friend who made his life better, and now she's in a coma, which totally sucks. So I liked how it celebrates femininity. Because I'm gay and a tomboy, and I can say, since I'm like the tomboy one or what have you, I tend to date more feminine women, but it's just like I need femininity in my life, or I have really good chemistry with like feminine gay guys. So I know I need femininity in my life. It's something that I need, and I get it too. My friends who are like straight ladies, I can see how they need, like, I need positive femininity in my life, and my friends who are like straight ladies, they need positive masculinity in their lives, and I totally get it. I mean, I don't know, I get it. So the idea that femininity is just like a breath of fresh air is like, it really is. It completely changes your life. A woman loving you, or for me, women who've loved me in my life, friends or romantic, have completely changed my life for the better. So it's just like, I love the celebration of femininity because that's what I'm attracted to. And again, positive masculinity is great too. And I think that the seven little men, I think they represent positive masculinity. So they're very lovable. They're very lovable if you watch the movie. Okay, so the third thing I really like about the movie is it basically defined animation. This is, we wouldn't think of your favorite cartoon ever. It wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Snow White. So it redefined animation, and I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, so I've met people at different like filmmaking networking things. I've met people who work at Pixar Animation Studios, and I've met people who work at Lucasfilm, and the work ethic they put in is very admirable and very outstanding. Like, it's so much work to put these movies together, and that's true of nowadays, like Onward or any of those movies. It's so much work to put these movies together. And back then in the 1930s, same deal. It's just so much work to put these movies together, and I really admire the work ethic. So Snow White defined animation. And what I saw was, so a movie star, Clark Gable, when Walt Disney debuted the movie, Clark Gable was one of the people in the audience who, when Snow White goes into the coma, Clark Gable was crying. And yes, this movie was in the 1930s, so if you watch it now, you might not cry. But in the 1930s, it was a big deal. Walt Disney used animation to get people to feel emotions. So if you've ever cried at a Pixar movie, you have Walt Disney to thank for that, because Walt Disney proved that animation can cause people to feel emotions and catharsis. So it defined what animation was, and every single frame is hand painted on Snow White. A lot of those old school movies, people took a paintbrush and paint, and they painted what was called cells, but they painted. It's every frame is hand painted. I think that's astounding. So you're watching moving paintings. Cool. Okay, and then finally, I just wanted to talk, one of my favorite books. My sister gave this to me for my birthday last year, and I saw at the Walt Disney Museum, I saw the woman, Mindy Johnson, I saw her give a lecture on this book, and it's called Ink and Paint, and it's called The Women of Walt Disney's Animation. These are the women. As you can see, that's a picture of them. And this book is phenomenal. It's a great book. And basically, overall, Walt Disney wasn't perfect, but his relationship to women was that he thought they were cool. And in the days of Snow White, which was like the 1930s, if you were a woman, a pretty decent job you could get back then was being an ink and painter for Walt Disney Studios. And it was an entire department of all women painting every cell, and it's just kind of cool. And without the lecturer, she was great, because she was saying without these ink and painters, for sure the animators were brilliant. Cannot emphasize that enough, of course. Like, the animators were absolutely fantastic as far as the people who drew the drawings. So kudos to the animators, absolutely. And I just want to say this, I've met a lot of animators. Most of the animators I've met are like really cool people. Like, regardless of gender, male, female, they just tend to be cool people. Just that's just a little antidote I'm throwing out there. But anyway, so what is my point? Oh, so but what Mindy Johnson said, if it wasn't for the ink and paint department, as far as these old school movies, you're just watching sketches. You're watching brilliant sketches. You're watching beautiful sketches. But without someone, and this was highly skilled work as well, so without someone inking and painting each cell, is what they're called, or each sketch, you're watching sketches, moving sketches. So what makes it a complete movie is the ink and paint, right? So kudos to the animators, and kudos to the ink and paint department. And also the ink and paint department, also they chose the colors. So think how iconic Snow White's red and blue and yellow is. Those were chosen by the ink and paint department, which is just, I think that's cool. And then also, what I think is really interesting is, they had the ink and paint department, they had their own chemistry lab, so they would create their own colors that were unique, and you couldn't buy them anywhere else. So the colors you're looking at in Snow White, those are unique colors created in a lab for that movie, and I think that's kind of cool too. So yes, so yeah, so those are the 3 reasons that I like Snow White. Definitely it was made in the 1930s, so if you're gonna sit down and watch it, be like, this was a movie made in the 1930s. So just, you know, keep that in mind. But yeah, it's a great movie. I do recommend it as far as an animation movie, and it's the movie that started it all. So I recommend Snow White. Okay, thanks for watching. Love y'all, and hope you're being really good to yourself right now during a tough time, COVID-19, and I'm keeping everybody in my prayers. All right, love y'all. Talk to you later. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube video. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to, I would love it if you would like, subscribe, ring the bell, or leave any comments or questions down below. I'm totally down to answer any of your questions or see what your thoughts are on the video. Also, my official call to action is that you guys and gals and folks be really, really, really good to yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Times are tough right now. I'm keeping everybody involved with coronavirus, people on the front lines, in my prayers. And then us, just kind of everybody being stuck at home, keeping all of us in my prayers for sure. Okay, and my other call to action is that you join my email list. If you want to mosey on over to my website, this is like the link. Yeah, so I created a PDF and a PDF and a video. So I actually grew up in a abusive home, and now as an adult I'm doing quite well, considering considering a global pandemic. And yeah, so what I did is I came up with 5 daily strategies that I do every day that help me feel like good every day. And so yeah, I used to deal with a lot of sadness and depression in my 20s, and now I'm in my 30s. I started studying personal development, and in a way I've been studying personal development my entire life. So what I did is I created a PDF and a worksheet where I give 5 daily strategies that teach you to tell you the 5 strategies I do every day that just help me feel good. And also my college buddy, he joined my email list, and he saw the sequence of videos that you get to see through my email list and the worksheets, and he said they were amazing. He emailed me and he told me he loved them, and he thought they were super awesome. So he said, "These are so Julie." That's what he said, my college buddy. So that's pretty cool, pretty exciting. So hey, so I totally encourage you to watch my, to join my email list. That's my official call to action. All right, thank you so much. I hope y'all have a great day. And I'm Julie Kerr, writer and director of the romantic comedy Geek Loves Punk. Okay, bye y'all, love y'all.